known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know we don't know.
Excuse me.
No, there are knowns. We know we know. There are things we know we know. We know there are some things we do not unknown. The ones we don't know unknowns.
For all whose sense of freedom has been threatened. America was targeted for attack by Congress, federal agencies in Washington, financial institutions, and world leaders in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. These acts were intended to frighten the world and our nation's sense of safety and security. These acts were intended to frighten the American people into chaos and retreat. Our military is powerful. We will make no distinction between the terrorist and the people. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to frighten the world. Our first priority is terrorism. Blood. Death. Unyielding anger. Our country is collapsing. And our government's failed.
And if people can't trust the executive branch, Congress, and don't trust federal judges, then we're going to have some problems here.
And to those citizens, please know what will come your way. Death, detention, prosecution. And when they say, I want my lawyer, shut up. You're an enemy combatant.
The separation of powers, our Constitution, that is not who we are. It's not what is necessary to defeat American citizens. We will again set an example for the world that the law is subject to the whims of stubborn rulers and that justice is arbitrary. Violating civil liberties is the way to enhance our security. There are no shortcuts to protecting the terrorists.
Terrorism is a technique. What we're really engaged in was plotting and planning and trying to find ways that can kill innocent men, women, and children. And capturing and killing a number, it's a technique, it's a method. The purpose of terrorism is to terrorize.
How come the people didn't see it? How come they didn't connect the dots?
What are you guys talking about?
Special interests and the demented philosophy of conquest have driven most wars throughout all of history. Rarely has the cause of liberty been the driving force.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizen can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
Our government intervention in the economy, the private affairs of citizens, and the internal affairs of foreign countries leads to uncertainty and many unintended consequences. In due course, the Constitution will continue to be steadily undermined and the American Republic further weakened.
Because that's what Americans do now. They're always willing to trade away a little of their freedom in exchange for the feeling, the illusion of security.
This administration also puts forward a choice between the liberties we cherish and the security we provide. I will provide our intelligence and law enforcement agencies with the tools they need to track and take out American citizens. That means to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. That means tracking citizens who do nothing more than protest a misguided war. That means ignoring the law when it is inconvenient.
The last nail is being driven into the coffin of the American Republic as our liberties are rapidly fading before our eyes. The process is propelled by unwarranted fear and ignorance as to the true meaning of liberty. It is driven by economic myths, fallacies, and irrational good intentions. Who would have ever thought that the current generation and Congress would stand idly by and watch such a rapid disintegration of the American Republic? Our presidents can now, on their own, order assassinations, including American citizens, operate secret military tribunals, engage in torture, enforce indefinite imprisonments without due process, order searches and seizures without proper warrants, gutting the Fourth Amendment, continue the Patriot Act abuses without oversight, wage war at will, treat all Americans as suspected terrorists at airports with TSA groping and nude x-ray, military activity against American suspects here at home. And all of this is not enough. It appears that the fate of the American Republic is now sealed. The saddest part of this tragedy is that all these horrible changes are being done in the name of patriotism and protecting freedom. They are justified by good intentions while believing the sacrifice of liberty is required for our safety. Nothing could be further from the truth. Without this understanding, our wonderful experiment with liberty will end.